discussion centered around tap, click, delight, redefining convenience in contactless commerce. To begin, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I welcome the moderator for this panel discussion to the stage, Rohan, Padha, partner, Deloitte, India. Let's put our hands together and welcome Rohan to the stage. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, it's post-lunch. I think we have a little more energy now. Welcome, sir. I request you to please take the center seat. And our panelists, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Rakesh Gupta, Head, Customer Services and Customer Experience, Panasonic. Can we have a round of applause, please, Mr. Gupta? Mr. Swapnil, Sant, Head, CS and Customer Experience, Tata, CLiQ. Keep that applause coming, ladies and gentlemen, for each of our panelists as they join us on stage. Dilpreet Singh, Head, Loyalty, CRM and Partnerships, ITC Hotels. Delnaaz, Irani, Associate Director, Customer Experience, Emerging Markets, GSK. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise, please. Vijaybahu, Joshi, Associate Vice President and Head of Experience Design, Reliance Jio. And Shakeel, Anjum, Head EV and New Business, Honda Cars. Welcome to each of our panelists. Rohan, over to you.
All right, while we settle in, I think they always give the most exciting session right after lunch. So we'll do justice to that, I'm sure, with all the eminent panelists that we've got on stage. We'll quickly dive right in to the topic. It's all about single click, tap, click, and how do you get commerce which is seamless across. If I just take a trip down memory lane, right, even 10, 15 years back, if you look at it, everything was about physical buying. Everything was about you had to go into the store, touch and feel the product that you're looking for before you buy, make big buying decisions. And today, if you fast forward, it's completely changed. Your commerce is all about people are buying very expensive, be it a car. I know you've got panelists here who will talk about it. Major buying decisions are being made through contactless commerce and channels which typically you wouldn't associate with high value buying, for example. And we were discussing this earlier. Today, your channels are also moving beyond just a communication and moving into more of a connect that you need to form with the user as well. And it's not just about the initial stage of buying. It's also about across the customer journey. How do you make sure that you are engaging with the customer throughout? With that, I don't want to take too much time from all the exciting insights that the panel is gonna bring in. So I'll just dive right in and just give me a moment. So I'll start with Rakesh, if that's all right. So the question's about how can contactless commerce enhance the customer journey, as I mentioned, from research to purchase, to delivery, to installation, especially in your space. I think that's quite relevant. And do you believe that with contactless commerce, decision-making for the customer has become easier? And does that help the organization as well?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Rakesh. I am from Panasonic Electric Works, more known as Anchor by Panasonic. So yes, coming back to your question, this contactless has helped a lot. How it has helped? Firstly, we are able to deliver a 24/7 seamless experience. Previously, consumer was forced to see that product in the store, then go to online, buy it across. So it is a seamless experience, 24/7 it is available. When coming back to the buying journey, yes, now it is helping us as a consumer to decide before we buy. How it is helping our consumers, like they can, there are applications, mobile applications, even in our organization, wherein a consumer can foresee how this kitchen will look like into his house, or how this television will look onto his wall, or a fan is particularly suiting up to the colors of the wall or not. Nowadays, consumers are becoming choosy on that point. Previously, with the online purchase, there were chances that the decisions could have went wrong. But with contactless experience, it is available 24/7. Then seamless journey is there, and also it has helped organizations to make sure that returns are less. So once the decision is made firmly, then only consumer goes for a buy. Then with this contactless experience, he is able to compare between the brands also. Previously, he was able to see only pictures, but with this AR, VR technology, contactless technology, virtual reality is gaining, traction like anything in this buying behavior of the consumer. So I assume, yes, it is helping the organization as well as consumers to speed up the journey. Whereas installation is concerned, yes, it is helping in installations also, because consumer is aware beforehand that what he is going to buy, whether it is going to fit in the space, whether it gets approved by his architect or the interior designer. So it is helping in both the ways to the consumers.
Got it. Thank you for that. So Swapnil, my next question is to you. So just moving from maybe a different kind of brand, right, as a digital native brand, what are some of the strategies that you have employed from a contactless commerce perspective, and what are some of the lessons learned? Because people always talk about what's good happens from some of the strategy, but what are the lessons learned so that we can all make those changes as well?
Thank you so much. Thanks for the question. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Swapnil. I am part of Tata CLiQ, customer service and customer experience team. The question seems to be pretty tricky for us to understand because we started our operations, we started our business almost 7 years back, and managing or probably delivering experience to the customers, our customer group segment is quite different than the other e-commerce platforms. We currently deal with fashion, that is lifestyle, luxury business, and palette, that is beauty business core. When it comes to customer experience, as you can understand, all three businesses are giving us different sort of customer, different customer persona, and so the segment of customers are different, and so their expectation at the end becomes different. In our case, when it comes to when we talk about hyper competitive market, there is something that is linked to us is hyper personalization as well. Now linking contactless operations and hyper personalization, I know it doesn't go well together because it may cut across in any manner in the long run. But when it comes to managing our contactless operations, we have built in lot many avenues when it comes to our omni-channel presence in the market. Be it our contact center, when again human comes into the picture, because the kind of customers who are buying the products on our platform, everything is linked to an emotion of the customer, be it self-gifting, be it gifting to others, be it buying something, quite a luxury product, everything is linked to an emotion. So when we talk about contactless operations, it directly linked to the technology. When we talk about technology, the first thing that comes into our mind is artificial intelligence. I think we have crossed that level of artificial intelligence to putting it into applied intelligence. And from applied intelligence, now we have reached towards managing along with emotional intelligence that comes our way when it comes to our customer. Managing that applied intelligence, we have done enough and more studies with the help of data analytics. We have put machine learning in place in order to handle our service chat bot channels. When it comes to social media channel, there are a lot of anxiety that comes across when it comes to social media. How to filter that, how to prioritize that. We have put machine learning in place. We put entire 7 years data into the system to understand what sort of customer persona comes to us, what sort of anxiety comes to us, and that's where we are able to prioritize cases. There are influencers, there are people who are having great following on the social media platforms, which may probably aggravate or make or break the situation at the same time. So we have been able to deal with it with the help of, again, when it comes to technology. But again, technology is not the only way which can help us or probably pave the way towards success for us. Another thing is intelligent IVR that we have been using it, and so on and so forth. Learning as such, of course, when you try to put technology in place, there will be some bit of change or some bit of, I would say, a small hurdle that you may come across as part of hiccup. But again, you have to keep learning, because as a human also we keep learning. At the same time, you have to make the system learn, adopt to the customer VOCs and other aspects of your business, and eventually that goes in our favor. But unlikely, there are so many events that has happened across e-commerce where customer is asking something, the bot is understanding something else, and eventually it has come across as a as a blast on the e-commerce platform and market. I mean, that was never the case. But yeah, internal learnings were such where we keep developing, and over the period of time, as I said, machine learning really helped us to move from artificial intelligence to applied intelligence in our case.
Great, thanks for that, Swapnil. So yeah, even because we have a lot of client conversations, and that whole approach to fail fast, learn fast, make agile decisions really helps. My next question, Vijay, to you, I think we touched upon after sales, the overall customer journey, and we spoke about strategy as well. As a experienced design professional yourself, uh, where do you see design and design-led innovation stand in India with regards to product development, and do you see any big leap that's happening there?
It's a bit of an hard answer. Maybe I think it kind of justifies post-lunch. It's a wake-up call. So I'll be just stating few facts. It might hurt people, but that's particularly all right. So the three generation of professionals we have in the country, we got naturally groomed to import things. So initially there were cars, technology. We had 20-year-long agreement. Whether you talk about the defense sector, everything was imported. Now, when this batch actually gradually morphed into the digital native civilization, we actually are doing the same thing. We are importing Angular, we are importing Flutter, design systems. All the paradigms are not from this country. So there's a bit of a voice which is happening around where if I change the input, so I'll just explain quickly. If I take tea, if I take water, if I take milk, and if I take sugar, I get a certain output of it, right? But if I change one ingredient, maybe tea to rice, does my output change, right? And what is the value I'm creating? So the tea is sold at a certain value and a pudding is sold at a certain value. So from that particular lens, if the three pillars of this particular product development team, you call it the technology, business, and design, they just woke up to the factor, or they may just do random experiments, I guess that is a huge silver line. And maybe the new generation which is coming up, who are much above the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, they have started questioning, do I need this same application the way it is done, right? It's like, actually one of the most cheeky examples we have is you import a chicken burger, add a bit of a masala and call it a chicken tikka burger and say this is purely Indian innovation. So I think that's one huge scope which is left out, and it can't be done without all the three party, I would say, participation.
Thanks for that, Vijay. Delnaaz, next question to you. In the pharmaceutical industry specifically, right? People wouldn't maybe equate contactless commerce with the pharmaceutical industry. So how do you see that panning out? What are the kind of trends that you see within the industry? If you could add to that.
Yeah, thanks. Working? No? Working? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks for that question, Rohan. So I'm Delnaaz. I work for GSK. I've worked for the pharma industry pretty much all my life. So in the pharma industry, I will divide it into two. One is the B2B and one is B2C. B2B is typically what happens between a pharma company and the HCP as in the doctor, healthcare professional or the doctor, right? And that is pretty boring, which is limited more or less to ordering, payments, all of that. What I'll speak about is the B2C part, right? Which is from the doctor to the patient. So what is happening now? And this is happening a lot more post-COVID, which is telemedicine, right? So I'll give you my personal example of my pregnancy journey, right? So when I was pregnant, I went to my gynecologist, and every time, for the first few months, you go every month, and then you keep increasing the frequency. Towards the end, you are like almost going every 2 to 3 days, right? And every time she would remove a paper and she would be writing, okay, BP, glucose, and whatever observations of hers were. So every time there was a paper being added, right? Every time I had to personally go to her, right, to get myself checked, tested, etc. Now what is happening? The most simplest example, we get some rash, you click a photo, send it to the doctor. Sir, what do I take? Or you'll write symptoms on WhatsApp and send, right? I have fever since 2 days, my left nostril is blocked, whatever, right? So this is the most basic example of telemedicine that I'm giving you here. Now what this enables you to do is you can actually have a virtual session with the doctor and have a consultation, right, virtually. So that is what happens. The softwares that we have are so advanced that on a click of a button, the doctor has the whole patient history in front of him or her, right? So he knows what drugs they've taken in the past, what allergies they have, what drug worked, what didn't work. Was there a similar condition happened earlier? They have all the reports, right? So at the end of my pregnancy journey, the file had become like literally this thick, right? You had every consultation, you had a paper, then you had all your blood reports, you had your sonography reports. At the end of it, it was so thick that was given to me. So with this telemedicine, everything the doctor has is on a software, right? It's on a system, and the patient doesn't need to personally go to the doctor, right? If it's a routine checkup, it can be done virtually as well. So that is the first advantage, right? The second thing also is the doctor can monitor the patient remotely. So now you have wearable devices, right? Not a Fitbit which you yourself monitor, but there are devices that connect the patient with the doctor. So immediately when the patient has a sugar spike or if the patient has BP, the doctor can intervene at that point itself. And this is more for, like very, very severe illnesses, not like really for fitness enthusiasts or something like that. But when you have a real-time intervention by a doctor because of a wearable that the patient is wearing, which is connected with the doctor's system. So yeah, that is what contactless commerce would typically mean between a doctor and a patient, right? You can have your entire consultation done sitting at home without making such a big file. And probably when you get into the second pregnancy, you still don't have one more file that is made like that. Everything can be referred to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So from one sector where the primary mode of interaction is physical, moving to another one. So in hospitality, Dilpreet, my next question is to you, where you would typically expect the interactions and the relationship being built from a physical channel. As we are moving into a more connected commerce world, how do you see loyalty and customer relationship management evolving within hospitality?
Sure. Thank you, Rohan. So I believe, as you said that talking about the contactless commerce, but again, the kind of industry we are into, it is by the people for the people. So again, when you're talking about taking a vacation or going for business travel, you can't say this thing, okay, I will be wearing the VR headset and I will take the vacation. So at the end of the day, you have to go to the physical hotels and get the service which are being provided by the people. So I believe more than this thing, I believe it is more towards the so-called phygital environment in which hospitality industry is operating. So it's a mix of both the contactless and the personalized experience which you want to give it to them. So I believe there are two parts to it. One is the demand side, one is the product side. So when you're talking about the demand side, so there would be certain underlying principles or the fundamentals which would be there where you have to create the demand by, so today everyone is talking about increasing the share of wallet. So if we just did some introspection in terms of what exactly is share of wallet, so I believe it is share of heart plus share of head. Share of heart is the kind of experience which you are giving to them, the kind of connect the customer is able to feel resonance with the brand that would be there. And when I'm talking about the share of head, so that is primarily how aware the customer is about your offerings or the kind of brand you are, what kind of vision or what kind of mission you are having, what is the purpose with which the brand is operating. That is there. Now coming to certain aspects like the CRM and the loyalty programs which are there. So I believe again, that also at a very high level, you need to understand that as a brand, what exactly is the expectation you are having from your loyalty program. So to put it very simple, so in the previous session, someone was saying the business has to solve two purpose or two problems, getting new customers and retaining the existing customers. So I think same thing applies here also. How I believe it is that it is kind of you have to protect the best, persuade the rest, and prospect the next. So when you are having your best customers there, you just have to make sure that you are protecting them. And how that can be done, you need to understand them well. And how that can be done is through leveraging the data and the technology. Today, every customer, irrespective of the industry, they are, I would say, leaving so much data behind in terms of the digital footprints, in terms of the interaction which they're having with the brand. So now as a responsible brand, firstly, you have to respect the privacy. So it has to be consent-based data which you are collecting. Then the kind of analysis which you are doing on that data, it should come some understanding for the brand, because like when you're talking about the typical data cycle, it starts from, I would say, the data which is there, it goes to information, then the instances or the inferences which are there, and then the kind of impact it is making to the life of the brand also and to the consumer also. So that is there. Now coming to the CRM, so I believe you have to strike a balance between three P's which are there, which is people, processes, and platform. Platform is again like the data is getting collected there. You are overarching that in terms of the latest agile technology which is there to understand. Because today, when you're talking about the data, it is not in thousands or lakhs. It runs into billions and trillions. So like you need to have a kind of a scalable system to make sure the kind of information which is there, you are getting good inference about of that thing. So once that thing is there, then your people should be good enough to kind of deliver that kind of experience which is there. And third part is the processes, where like if you're doing something for the consumer, your processes are so tedious and are not customer friendly. At the end of the day, the purpose of defeat is defeated when you aim at providing that value proposition to your customers.
Thanks, Dilpreet. Shakeel, over to you. Automotive industry going through big transformation right now. New technologies coming in, etc. And so, how do you see commerce changing within the automobile industry? Is it going to become digital? Because again, it's one of those sectors where it is expected that the consumer will go into the shop, dealership, etc., look at the vehicle and then purchase it. So, how do you see that changing over the next few years?
Great. So, thank you so much, Rohan. And hi, my name is Shakeel. I work with Honda Cars. Rohan, I think actually you put it very aptly. There's a big transformation happening. So unlike some of the categories that I hear about here, is automobile is going in once in a lifetime or once in a generation change, not in just terms of the buying process, but also the product. So we have a term called CASE in our industry, which is connected, autonomous, shared, and electrified. So fundamentally, these 4 points change everything that you know about automobile today. Specifically because we are talking about contactless commerce, the first two, which is connected and autonomous, will be the first to impact and change the way people experience product. I've already experienced autonomous taxi in San Francisco. I think some of you who are traveling would have seen it. It's a strange feeling, just sitting in a car and there's nobody and the steering is moving on its own. And that's an experience we will get used to. We will have delivery vehicles without drivers. So contactless commerce from auto will probably be more fundamental, unlike some of the industries where the product remains same and the experience is getting digitized. Here the whole product is getting digitized. The second part is the connected part, which I think also is going to play a very big role in how you experience automobiles, in next a few years. And I'm not talking about mid-term, long-term, I'm talking about near future. Connected car is today, I think, most of you who bought a car in last 3 years is already experiencing it. And many things associated with it. So in terms of the specific topic of e-commerce, the OTA in automobile is going to become very important, which is over-the-air products. So today, Apple led the way 20 years, 30 years back with creating that ecosystem. And they only sell a device, but they make money, with the OTA and fundamental. And it is my strong observation, or whatever you want to say, that after phone, automobile will probably become your most personalized device that you own. Because it will have the same capacity as your phone in terms of collecting data and also an opportunity to interact. You're going to spend, I don't know, 20 to 30% of your life in that vehicle. So wonderful opportunity and a lot of potential. So that's the more futuristic part, so to say, of the product post-purchase. Coming to the simpler part, which is consumer behavior and the purchase funnel. Again, I like to use this term called AIR, awareness, interest, recommendation. I think they're already up in the air, so to say. That means they are digitized. So today you don't talk to your neighbors or colleagues so much. You practically do your research till the decision point online. The two parts, which is the DDs, which is deal and delivery, are still offline, so to say. probably will remain like that, and picking up on the digital world, it will remain like that. However, we will reimagine the way dealerships work. It's a large topic in itself, but I leave it at that. That over a period of time, air will become aired, and the D part will also become digitized, so to say.
Got it.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. My next question is going to be to you, Swapnil, and then Rakesh, if you can follow up. I think Shakeel touched upon after sales, post sales, service, etc., etc. How do you see that maturing as we move forward with connected commerce coming in?
So in our case, when it comes to post-purchase journey experience, I think there are two major, I would say, KPI or CX drivers that we keep in mind. Uh, at a CX level, what we make sure that there is no need to call. That should be an ideal scenario for us to have from a customer point of view. Second, across multi-functional teams or cross-functional teams that we deal with, a major KPI or call driver that we try to make sure that we should be able to deliver is perfect order to the customer. So when we talk about perfect order, a customer tapped on our Tata CLiQ platform, looked for a product, bought a product, delivered within the timelines. If there is any issue, if there is anything that customer would like to return, customer returned the product, got a refund. If there is no need to return the product, got the product, everything went well, and there is a feedback, NPS given by the customer. That is called perfect order for us. But there would be certain, I would say, defect at a journey level or at a customer level. Out of anxiety, customer may reach out to us. And that's where we have contactless operations. We have human-led operations, because there are customers who are buying with emotion, as I mentioned in my previous conversation as well. And that's where you need to have emotion linked to that order when it comes to interaction as well. Intelligence from an applied intelligence or artificial intelligence point of view, you can do not much, but you can reach there where customers' basic queries can be answered. But when a customer is buying some ultra luxury products, or customer needs some help in order to handle those queries, those assurances, and the money that is being invested, whether it is fruitful or not in that venture, you may need to have that kind of reassurance coming through a human. And that's where we have some of the great initiatives that we have been running from past couple of years, where hyper personalization plays a pivotal role. Second, when it comes to managing customers, and we would like to give a differential experience to certain set of customer, knowing their customer history, customer database, and behavioral approach as to what type of product that the customer would like to buy in certain way. So we have in-depth analysis done on the customer persona part, and that also helps us to handle customers' query or some bit of problems in the journey if they come across, and we try to deal with it faster, better, in a more fast and frugal way, I would say. And perfect order gives us a lot of clarity as to what all journey level issues we may come across, because it's for customer, it's a product that has been bought and the journey ends. But for us, the journey starts, because that's where the real outcome comes for us, whether the customer is retaining the product or not. And that's where the post journey level enhancement activities comes into the picture. There are four different set of post purchase journey experiences that we try to cater for our customers. And every journey level activity, we have a journey manager who maps the entire journey, figure out the NVAs in the journey, try to deliver experience, and which particular journey has dented the perfect order of the customer. We try to ensure that it has been corrected, for not for the customer, but for the other customers who might have been through it or who may go through it. So that's where we try to deal with it. One is need to call, that we try to minimize as much as possible. Our endeavor is to have zero, but that may be a dream do come true situation for a service industry people. But at the same time, perfect order, if that goes up, my need to call may eventually go down. So that's how we look at these two aspects.
Adding on to what Swapnil said. Am I audible? So adding on to what Swapnil said, contactless after sales services. So AI-enabled chatbots, AI-enabled conversational chatbots. All these things have been working for last 4-5 years, and this has got a better traction post-COVID. So this is always there after post-purchase. If a consumer is having any query, he can get in touch with our chatbots. More than this, in after-sales services, remote troubleshooting has been the next thing. Now, how does remote troubleshooting? Sometimes we can ask consumer to repair a product on his own, or do some on-off sort of things, which we have been doing for laptops and all or mobiles for years now. But in our case, specifically for organizations like us who have been into traditional journeys, as well as we are incubating several new businesses like solar or home automations or power tools. So these are the new businesses which we have been incubating: EV chargers, EV vehicles. So we cannot appoint a separate engineer for every geography of India, given the vast geography what we have. So this remote troubleshooting has been playing a great role. So for example, if we are having an engineer who is trained on X product, and if you are sending him on the Y product consumer, first thing what he was doing, जाते phone लगाता था, हाँ सर मैं आ गया हूँ, अब क्या करना है? So this was giving a bad consumer experience कि कोई नौसिखिया सा बंदा आ गया, the guy who is not trained on that product has arrived at my home and he'll spoil the things. But now with this contactless AV solutions, VR solutions, what he is going at the consumer place, he's putting up a specs with earphones on it, with a remote camera, he's calling up without even consumer being aware, he's taking support from a war room. So we have set up a war room kind of setup in our head office, wherein tech experts sitting at the head office can support multiple field executives. So this has helped us delivering better experience, higher TED, because the nearest available technician, irrespective of whether he is completely skilled or not, he can help at the first level of troubleshooting. Now, third thing, how this contactless help, we have been seeing this DIY culture in European countries or Western countries. वहाँ वो खुद का घर भी बना रहे हैं, paint भी कर रहे हैं. Even they were repairing cars on their own for many years now. But in Indian context, it has started gaining traction huge after COVID. Now, if you go to any mall, they're requesting Mr. DIY people to set up their shop. You go to any mall and you will see huge footfall at these DIY shops. What they are doing, people are buying tools to repair product on their own. People are buying, CDs to repair their refrigerator on. So these kind of requests are coming up to us as well, wherein the consumers are asking for digital user guide, digital installation guide. A consumer is not ready to wait. He has bought a product which can be assembled on his own. He's not ready to wait for 6 hours or even 24 hours for a subsequent engineer to visit. So he's asking us, you give us the digital guide, we will install on us our own, or you give us a small toolkit or Allen keys along with it, we will install it. So these are some of the contactless experience which has been delivered in after-sales services.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that. Vijay, next question to you. I think Rakesh touched upon for India, right? So my next question is, end of the day, commerce is all about catering to what is the want of a customer or a person. Do you believe today in India, we've got the right solutions in place already to cater to and understand what the customer demands are and apply those solutions? Or do you think there's space to grow?
So the flat answer to this is no. And so what we inherited, again, this answer is connected to the previous one as well. We inherited something called as a monoblock product experience. So that is the Fordization of the product. So in the same refrigerators being sold in Kashmir, despite of temperature differences, and the same are being sold in Rajasthan, right? And we have this, freezer compartments which used to stock, non-vegetarian stuff, or I would say, frozen stuff, which had no need. We still carry on with that factor. Now, all of this is gradually getting questioned when people participation actually comes back into the product space. Now, any product per se from a cultural perspective is a cultural expression of any society, and there are a couple of quadrants to that. So a society expresses in terms of food, its aroma, your natural dwelling, which is your architectural spaces, your clothing, and your music. These are few of the core components. When you look at particularly the imported model of product absorption in the country, it never really moved. Excuse me. It's not merely like taking just a sticker on top of a refrigerator, making it floral makes a product Indian, right? That is more like a pseudo alignment of a product. Now, what digital enables you is you have the same platform, but it morphs into depending on what custom and culture it belongs to. Now, that thought process is really not gone through. Partly isn't gone through in terms of the contrast mode. So you have something called as an Android experience for elders, and then you have for Android experience for different age. So that is just the beginning. So I think that's one huge part where a music application, let's say for a teen sitting in Imphal, will transform or transmute itself in a slightly different way for a person sitting in Jodhpur. Now this thought is so beautiful from a country, but we haven't really explored it well. Again, this is due to this legacy of importing one size fits all kind of, I would say paradigm. The second, again, is a component which I'm using a word may emerge from India. This is product design via certain intention. I keep it very, very brief. So if there are a team of 9 product people, which includes technology, business, and design, and let's say they are from New Delhi, they're generally very angry throughout the day. They come out with a digital product. Now, researchers have enough proven stacks, and that's one topic which I normally cover as part of my own product innovation workshops. As you touch and start using, whether it's a physical product or a digital product, that thought intention goes to that particular person, and then either a repulsion will happen or an attraction quotient will happen, depending on what is the natural physiology of that person. Now, connecting this spot to a very interesting fact which was quoted by Economic Times, I remember it was about 2 months ago. India's GDP share was 38% in year 1. We are in 2024. Now, back then, and then we had our friendly neighborhood China next to us as well. So that particular spot of time, were we attracting more or were we pushing more? In terms of our products attracting more, I would say, customers on its own. Now, this is one dimension which is getting a little more evident in terms of product design parlance and gradually immersive studies. So what kind of people you hire. So if you have a product which generally requires a lot of compassion, let's say the medical products, and innately if people are very aggressive in nature, right? And what happens to that product? So enough statistics are emerging in terms of its final ROI, right? Why certain dynamics of a product created in certain conditions, they succeed, and why with the same ingredient it fails. It's like you have the same brick and mortar, but the expression is very, very different when different set of people create it. It's a very, very, I would say, tangential thought, but this entire scope is completely left out for exploration. And we do hope, maybe courtesy or institutions, if we are able to do some test runs via aura energy scanners, or we have as part of GeoGlass as well, if aura energy scanning can be enabled, it can be easily tracked and measured.
Got it. Plenty of room to grow. And Dilpreet, over to you, and Shakeel, you can follow up post Dilpreet's response. How are you capturing customer feedback today across the contactless channels? How do you use it? And how do you balance it with the trust privacy factor as well?
So in terms of the data which is getting captured, again, it is through I would say multiple sources. Like firstly, like the beauty of hospitality industry is like you can able to kind of interpret that how the experience of the person is when that person is standing in front of you, rather than waiting for 24 hours or 48 hours for that person to write good or bad about you on the social platforms or other platforms. So again, there are multiple channels. So in terms of the usage of the data, I believe there is a strategy which is acknowledge strategy, which would be there, and then the action would be there. When I'm talking about the acknowledge, I believe like one of the biggest mistake most of the brands right now what they are making is not acknowledging the positive feedback which is there. So wherever there is a negative feedback, they are kind of reverting to that thing, but they are not even acknowledging the positive, which is very bad. It's like you are going to a party, you are wearing a very good business suit and stuff like that. Someone is coming, you are looking good. You will just ignoring the person, moving away. The moment person is saying this color is not suiting you, you will say why it is not there. So it's like that. Then when it comes to the strategy, so I would say like the kind of a very prominent framework which is being used in the feedback mechanism is your 4C framework, which is capture, cluster, communicate, and control. So firstly, you have to capture the feedback from multiple sources which are there, and then you have to cluster in terms of so like what kind of feedback buckets are there in which people are either giving you positive or the negative thing, that would be there. And then third part is the communicate. So like firstly, like you need to communicate, so like if you were at fault, then acknowledge that thing, admit that thing, and if not, then just give a kind of a justification or the rationale behind that thing, then why it was not there. And the last part is the control. Like even when it is positive, just continue with that thing. If it is a kind of a negative, just try to improve that thing. So that would be there. Now when it comes to like, I'll just give you a kind of a real life example in that thing. So like when I'm talking about the hotel, so like everyone has a different requirement. So like again, the body structures and everything are different. So some people like to sleep on a soft mattress, soft pillow, or the hard mattress, hard pillow. So like again, taking this feedback around 4 to 5 years back, what we did was like, we have created a full sleep menu. So when I'm talking about the sleep menu, not only the choices of pillow, the choices of mattress which is there, but it is also the F&B part which is being integrated, where within the sleep menu, you are having certain items which have been scientifically proven that these lead to maybe a kind of a X percentage of deeper sleep, which is there. So that's how you kind of capture the data, you work on that thing and deliver something which is meant for the consumer.
Great. This will be a bit of a shameless plug, but I've bought the ITC sleep pillows for my house as well. So you're doing a good job. And Shakeel, over to you, sorry.
Great. I think I really liked Dilpreet's earlier comment about the two H, the haters and the heart people. So the hate part is easy to capture. There'll always be in a CRM mechanism and people will all go all over the place, and rightly so if there isn't complaint against the brand and it's taken care of. So it's always been a strong mechanism. But of late, what we have started capturing, and from marketers' viewpoint, even I think more importantly, the heart people. Because if you capture the top 5% and you can actually be able to communicate with them, there's a potential for referral and repurchase, which probably, increase our revenue by 4x from the same customer over a 10, 20-year period. We have put a basic mechanism in place. Earlier, the feedback mechanism used to be mostly dealer-based, but now we have 21 touch points, and after taking permission, we are collecting it online. And along with the hate people, now we are collecting these heart people, and we hope to see a lot of positivity spread through this brand promoters or evangelists, as I like to call them.
Great. Thank you for that. Shakeel, Delnaaz, over to you. In terms of ROI for all of these technologies that are being invested in, do you see that as being a challenge to justify that investment? Do you think it pays for itself? So just any thoughts on that?
So there is a scientific, So there's a scientific way of doing that, right? Which is MMM, which is marketing mix modeling, which basically will tell you, it's a statistical tool, right? It will basically tell you for each of these activities that you're doing, what is the impact on sales, right? So if you have multiple channels, you're doing an omni-channel campaign, or you're using multiple softwares, or whatever you're doing, for every activity, you will know, like if you've done 100 rupees in sales, 5 rupees came because of email, 2 rupees came because of customer service, 10 rupees came because of your salesperson, etc., right? So you can actually prove it, that what is working, what is not working, what do you need to enhance, what do you need to decrease, and you can also do a cost benefit analysis, right? So one is, it gives you that sales is happening on account of what. The second part, it will also tell you that what is the cost of each of these activities. So what is the cost of sending out an email campaign? What is the cost of having feet on the street, right? What is the cost of doing something else? So you can actually statistically measure it and not really go just by gut feel, because more often than not in organizations, I think gut feel is, you kind of have to keep it down there. You need to show data. So long story short, you need to do that analysis and prove that it is working or not working.
Got it. Thank you. We're almost at time, but I'd like to close by taking cue from the last session. Just 2 words on what excites or scares you the most about connected commerce going forward. And we were discussing this earlier. I told them not to pick GenAI. No one can pick GenAI. Anything else, but we'll start from the left.
It just got to be ethical. Digital technology need to move to ethics now, just guiding people on their natural behavior. That's
Perfect.
it.
So I think just exploring the unexplored, that's what's really, really exciting about this whole space.
So what excites is the convenience, and the threat is definitely the data privacy and the hacking which is there.
What excites is 24/7 multifunction operations for the customers. Even if we are not available, we are available. Threat is, of course, data privacy, data security, because the more the data, the bigger the threat for the customer and for us as well.
What excites is the convenience, obviously, what we can deliver to our consumers, as already said by Swapnil. And what scares is the hyper personalization.
Pretty much the same answer. So I would put it as freedom from device, time, and location. Be anywhere, do anything. So that's what excites me. nothing scares me anymore because we are all already, numbers have been put in categories, so no worries.
Great. So thank you so much to everyone. I think it was great fun for us on stage. I hope it was the same for everyone in the audience as well. And yeah, thank you everyone. With that, we conclude the session. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.